This Torah class is brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.
Again, Rav Shabbos, I want to share with you a nugget from the great Mekubal Rav Shamshon Ostropolle, and this is quoted in the Sefer Pninim Mishulchan Gavaya, and he brings this, that this vart of Rav Shamshon was said by none other than the Nachlas David of David Tevel. Pasuk says in this week's Parsha, Perek Lamed Gimel, Pasuk Yud Ches, Vayavo Yaakov Shalem. Yaakov came wholesome. And Rashi says on the spot from the Gemara in Shabbos, Lamed Gimel Lamed Aleph, Shalem begufai, Shalem b'mamaynai, Shalem b'tayrasai, whole in his body, whole in his money, whole in his Torah, complete in all of these three areas. Says Rabbeinu Shamshon Ostropolle. Why do Chazal mention specifically these three inyanim, gufai, mamaynai, tayrasai? And the answer is, says Rav Shamshon, is because Yaakov was specifically spared from the three astrological powers of Shabtai, Saturn, Levana, the moon, and Ma'adim, Mars. And the job of these astrological powers, that they are Ma'adim is appointed on Shvichas Damim, murder. And that fits very well into the Gemara Masechta Shabbos, that says somebody born under the auspices of Madin will be a Shafech Dam. And the power of Shabtai, on the other hand, is Hefsed Mamain, to cause the loss of money. The power of Levana is to cause one to forget Torah. And therefore, says the Nachas David in the name of Rabbeinu Shamshon, that Yaakov Avinu was spared the forces of these three things, and they are Shabtai, Levana, Madim, Shalem. Shalem means whole. Whole from what? Whole from Shalem. From Shabtai, Levana, and Ma'adim. Now the influence again of Shabtai is Hefsed Mamain. The influence of Levana is Hefsed Torah. The influence of Ma'adim is Hefsed Begufai. And therefore, Chazal specifically delineate Shalem Begufai against the mazel of Madim, Shalem b'mamaynai against the mazel of Shabtai, Shalem b'tayrasai against Levana, Shalem again Rashi Tevos, Shabtai, Levana, Madim, and therefore Chazal point out Shalem b'gufai, b'mamaynai, b'tayrasai. This is how it's brought in the Sefer Pninim Mishulchan Gavaya. Now interestingly, this version has Shabtai corresponding to Mamayn, Madim corresponding to Guf, and Levana corresponding to the Torah. Still unclear why Levana corresponds to Torah. However, if you look in the Sefer Nitzutze Shamshon, various collection of Chidushim of Shamshon Ostropolle, they bring down from the Mar Nevuchim that of the 7 Koichvei Leches, which Gemara in Shabbos says the siman is Shin Tzadi Mem Chaf Nen Chaf Shin Tzadi Mem Ches Nun Chaf Lamed. The Mar Nevuchim says 4 are good, Chama, Noiga, Koichav, and Tzedek, and Gimel and 3 are Ra, Shabtai, Madim, and Levana. Says the Nitzutei Shamshon, page Memhei, Shabtai is Maka Adam Beguf, not like we just said from the Pninim Mishulchan Gavaya. Levana is Maka person B'Torah, like the Gemara says in Erevin, he explains, and Daf Samachei, Lo Ivri Sihara Ela Legersa. The moon is corresponding to one's learning, and Madim is against Mamain. So it's the same Vart. Shalem stands for Shabtai, Levana, Madim, except for this version has Shabtai is against the Guf, and Madim is against the Mamain. And he points out in the Sefer that even though this would seem to be against the Gemara says Madim is Keneged Shvichas Damim, but at the same time, he points out that when the Gemara says that someone who's born under the auspices of Shabtai, his work will be batel, which would seem to fit better into the version of the Pninim Mishulchan Gavaya, that Shabtai is Keneged Mamain, but he says that the reason why Shabtai causes one's malacha to be batel is because it affects one's guf, because one is misbatel from work because of the guf. And then he says, that which the Gemara says that if someone is born under Madim, he'll be a bloodletter, or he will spill blood. Again, that fits much better into the first version of the Pninim Mishulchan Gavaya, but he says, no, a person will spill blood because someone born under that astrological sign does not have a lot of money, and therefore he will go out and be Glatstein brios to be able to make up for his money. Now, the Gemara says that Chachamim, Tzadikim, are weak. They're weak through the learning of the Torah. And if somebody doesn't learn Torah, then in fact they're weak anyway, because through the Levana, which causes a certain weakness. So just pointed out over here, the Gemara says in Masechta Shabbos Kuf Nun Vav, someone born under the astrological sign of the sun will be luminous. Someone under Noiga will be wealthy. Kaichav will be wise. Levana will suffer afflictions. Shabtai will lose work. Tzedek will be righteous. Madim will spill blood. But be it as it may, from here that we see explicitly of the 7 koich vayleches, 4 are good, 3 are bad, as the Rambam points out in the Mar Nevuchim, and that's the meaning of Vayava Yaakov Shalem, Shalem keneged Shavtai, Levana, Madim. But we know in Mazel Yisrael that through the Zchus HaTorah, Klal Yisrael rises above their Mazel. I wish everyone a Shabbos Shalem begufay, Shalom b'mamaynai, and Shalom b'tayrasai Agun Shabbos.
You've just experienced another Torah class brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.